Thor is here. Welcome to my new series on Starcraft 2 openings. Why are openings so important? Well, that question deserves its own video, so I'll make a video about that in the future. But for now, let's get right into the openings. The first opening we're going to look at is a Terran opening that I developed that I call the Rax Rush. And the design of this opening was to make it so you could get 5 Marines leaving your base being this area, leaving the ramp, in the shortest time possible. So I got that time down to 3 minutes and 34 seconds on a really good day with this build. I've only pulled that off a couple times though, so 3 minutes 35 seconds is a good time to shoot for. So any opening starts with a split. What I like to do for a split, especially on a map like this where the minerals are arranged on a diagonal to your command center, is I grab all my SCVs and then right click on the second to last mineral patch. Especially if there's a little cul-de-sac like this. So 3 of the guys are going to run in there and they'll immediately start mining these mineral patches. Then I'll quickly lasso the other 3 workers and tell them to go to the other cul-de-sac so they can do the same thing. This is a good map for getting minerals quickly because you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 mineral patches that are in pretty close distance to your command center. After I do my split, I click on the command center and hit Control 5 to set it to Control Group 5, and then I right click on an open mineral patch so my next SCV will go there. So let's see that. And there's a split. And my next SCV is getting ready to come out onto the open patch. You see how they all come back really quickly. So a good goal for your split is to have the 6th worker come back with minerals by second number 11. If you can get him back by 11 and not hit 12 or 13 or anything, then you know it's a pretty good split. And that just takes practice. You know, every single game you have to split, so you practice on every single game doing that. Now here's an interesting thing. My opponent, Scanded, says, nice 2 Rax build you got going on, which is kind of funny because that is a build that I'm doing and I have been doing a lot and I'm working on it. But I never played with this player before, Scanded. I looked at my match history and I had never played a game with him, so either this is a random thing he's saying or he was on a different account and he played against me recently. So it's interesting.
SCV ready.
So how this build is different from most builds is that I stop on the 7th SCV. 7 SCVs is just enough to get me the income I need to support this build. I don't need any more SCVs for a while. So you can see I'm waiting till about mineral 120, and then I send an SCV up into this area or anywhere where it's kind of away from workers to build the supply depot. So he's going to be building that. Next, I wait for about 110, 120 or so minerals to send my next worker to build the barracks. And the placement of the barracks is important. You want to put the barracks somewhere where it's not going to get scouted, because this is such an early barracks that if they send a scouting worker, you don't want them to see this barracks because it gives away the surprise. So you can see at about 120 minerals I grabbed this SCV, and he was working at a faraway patch, so I can pull that one off instead of one of these guys working at a closer patch. You know, I need to get the minerals as quickly as possible. And I'm sending him up here to this area to build a barracks. This is kind of off the beaten path. You don't want to build it like at your ramp or around your geysers, because these are places that the opponent is pretty sure going to scout. So you want to put it somewhere a little off to the side. This map isn't great for that. There's not a lot of room here, but it's good enough. So I saw my SCV, and you can see just by the time I get 150 minerals, my supply depot finishes and I can throw up my barracks. When I first was working on this build, I just put the 2 barracks like right next to my command center. The problem was that I watched the replays. When the opponents would scout those 2 barracks, they would immediately jump back to their base and start like making defenses or more units or something. So by being a little more sneaky about my barracks, it's less likely that the opponent will be able to react in time to this build. I like to lower my supply depot so that when my SCV returns, he won't get blocked. And you can see I've made a little queue for him with the shift key. So if I just click on a mineral patch, there's a chance, especially like one over here, there's a chance that he'll like go around the wrong way, and then he'll take extra time and he'll throw off other SCVs as well. So I like to queue him kind of in front of the minerals first and then on the patch that he should go to. And it's important to queue back your SCVs, otherwise they'll just hang around waiting for you to give them an order once they finish the building. So I queued back my guy building the depot as well. It's very important to get these early minerals fast. The bottleneck of this build is making your second barracks. The timing for that should be at 1 minute 39 seconds. So that's the target time. The second barracks goes at your ramp. So we'll see that happen. That's why it's important to get workers at the close mineral patches and get these early minerals just as fast as you possibly can, because you need that second 150. So you can see at about 125 minerals, I grabbed my SCV that was as close as possible to this ramp, and I just sent him over there as soon as he had returned his minerals. And you can see just at 150 I throw down this barracks, and you can see the time was 1:39. The reason that I put the second barracks here at the ramp, it's going to be your fifth Marine is going to come out of this barracks, so you want it to be right next to the ramp so you can hit that timing of having your 5 Marines leave as soon as possible. Also, this is a really common place for people to put their barracks, so when their scouting worker comes, they'll see you building a barracks here. It's probably going to be a little earlier than normal barracks, I'm not really sure, but you know, opponents don't really realize that. They just see, oh, here's a barracks, there's a ramp, that's normal, and they don't think anything strange is up, like they won't think you're doing proxy racks, and if they don't scout this other racks, then they'll just think you're maybe kind of slow, you don't have quite enough SCVs or something, and they probably won't even notice that. So once your racks goes up, your next 50 minerals will be towards SCVs. So I'm starting the next SCV right at 50. He's going to this open patch. I moved my queue. I guess I changed the queue to this patch because this guy is already coming back to this patch. Not a big deal now. We're past the point where getting every last mineral is super, super important. But we do need extra SCVs to be able to support sending reinforcements.
SCV ready.
When I originally made this build, it was an all-in where well, it's still an all-in really, but I had it have 5 Marines leave your base and then I just send all your workers and you just go attack. But that didn't actually work very well. The extra workers don't help very much, so now I only send about 6 workers and I leave 4 behind, and the 4 I leave behind help support sending Marines to reinforce your attack. And that helps a lot, as we will see. So my next 50 minerals, oh, you can see I already spent 50 minerals on this Marine here for 9 supply, and then my next 50 minerals are for another SCV to get to 10 supply. The workers are going to be on 8, 10, and 13. So for my next 50 minerals, I queued up a Marine here at this barracks, and for my next 50 I will be building my 3rd Marine out of this barracks. So right when that was done, I built my next Marine. And like I said, this is the bottleneck, so you want to hit that Marine as soon as that's done building, so you can get him out quickly. My next 50 it went to this SCV for 13, and then I queued up another Marine here at this barracks. At this point, once I'm at 14 of 19, I like to grab 2 SCVs and I send them to scout. Like this worker you see I've just sent to scout. I shift queue it, so I go to this spot where an enemy might be, and then I shift queue it back to the center of the map. This way, if I don't micro him perfectly, he'll still kind of come back, so he's going to add to my reinforcements eventually. I do the same thing with a second SCV, so you can see I'm sending this one as well. And he's going to go over to this expansion, or this location. And the nice thing about this is I can know exactly where the opponent will be. I scout this location and this location. So I'll either find him or know that he's here because I haven't scouted him yet. And it's nice in either case, because if I do scout him, then, well, it's a close spawn location, so my rush will be that much more deadly, less travel time to get there. And if I don't scout him, it'll be deadly because I haven't scouted him and he won't expect any aggression. He won't feel threatened by a scouting worker, so I'll just show up all of a sudden at his doorstep. So with my next 50 minerals, I queued up another Marine here at the barracks. These rally points are set. This one's here so if a worker comes in to scout, he can get some shots off. And this rally point is important because if he's scouting you, you don't want him to see your Marines, so I kind of put them away from the barracks where he won't really see them. And if you're near a ledge like this, especially like if it's an area where a scouting worker might go, you want to put it away from the ledge because if your Marines shoot at a scouting worker walking by, it'll give away your early Marines, and you don't want to do that. So at this point, I am just getting all my Marines together. My rush is about to start when this Marine pops at 3:35 is when this one will be. It's important to keep queuing up Marines all the time. We're going to get up to 19 out of 19. Just keep building Marines. If you ever forget and you have a lapse in time where you're not building Marines, then your rush will not be as effective. So at this point it's important to just press 4. I have my barracks set to 4, and I'm just queuing up Marines whenever I can. So here I'm sending my 2 Marines to the ramp so they'll be ready to move out. This one's about to pop, and you can see I've set the rally point for my barracks now on a Marine. You want to set the rally point on the furthest back Marine possible because if a Marine dies and it has a rally point set to it, then the rally point will be removed and future units that get produced will just kind of hang out at base. And when you're doing all this micro with this rush, it's hard to come back to base, and grab Marines and tell them to come in as reinforcements. So you really want them to be rallied on your troops. And you don't want to set your rally point somewhere like on the ground, because let's say I put it here at the ramp expecting there to be a fight here, but I end up fighting his workers over here or something, then my reinforcements are just going to come to this ramp and stop, and they'll be useless. Similarly, if I put my rally point over here, like expecting them to go all the way in, but then they kind of push me back and I'm fighting at the ramp, then my new reinforcements are just going to charge right in here and get killed, so that's bad as well. The nice thing about being rallied on a attacking unit is that if that unit's attacking and they're rallied on him, they will start attacking too, so they will quickly join the fight. As soon as they show up, they'll just start fighting, and it works really well. The downside, of course, is that if this unit dies, the rally point will get reset, so you have to be kind of aware of that, and when that unit dies, reset your rally point as quickly as you can on a different unit that's alive. So here we can see my 5th Marine is just about to pop. It's going to be at 3:35. I grab all my Marines, I set them to hotkey 2. That's the group I like to have for my Marines. I don't like to use 1 because my pinky uses the A key for attack, like attack moving, and I just like to use 2 better. And then I put my workers on 3. So what I didn't mention is after I sent my scouting workers out, I then come back and I lasso all of my SCVs, because at that point my final SCV is popped. And then I hold shift and I click 4 times on this first guy, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this gives me 4 units. And then I set them to control group 3. And these will be the SCVs that help me with my attack. So as soon as my squad of 5 Marines starts moving out, I press 3 to get my SCVs, and I right click on my Marines so they'll follow the Marine. And they're actually faster than Marines, so that's why I can wait a while to send them out, and they'll catch up with the Marines by the time the Marines get to the enemy base. And it took me a while. I had to practice a lot, but you have to keep queuing these racks. It's so important. Just hit 4 and hit A as much as you can until you get your supply cap. So now I'm seeing these scouting workers go out, and I see that he's not here in the top left and he's not here in the top right. So now I'm selecting these workers and holding shift and pressing 3. That adds them to my control group 3. So you see now I have 6 SCVs, and that will reinforce a little bit, give me more attacking units for this rush. So I know he's in the top right here. He does not expect me.
Additional supply.
You can see he sent a Marine out to scout, I guess. He was just randomly out here in the map. And I did attack move with my workers, so this Marine will die, or this SCV will die, but that's okay. I'm just moving right up this ramp. He didn't block off or anything, so I'm just going to move right in. So it looks like he's going for a 3 Rax build, which you might think could beat my build because he has more barracks than me, but this barracks isn't done yet. And he's only made 3 Marines so far, whereas I already have 5 Marines and I'm in his base. And this is way sooner than anyone ever expects to have 5 Marines in their base. Not only that, but I have a bunch of SCVs that are going to be helping out as well. So you can see his 3 SCVs were able to kill 1 of my Marines, but the rest of my Marines were able to clean up. So he's lost 3 Marines, I've only lost 1. Now you can see that he's sent all of his workers to come and try and fight me, and this is a really common reaction that people have. They're panicking, there's a rush coming, they want to deal with it, so they send all their workers to attack. Which is a good move, but you don't want to have your Marines be dead when you try and do that, as you'll see. So what I'm going to do is just attack with my SCVs, attack move with them, and this is really what the SCVs are good for. They're just tanks. They have 45 health, which is a decent amount, and they're just going to tank attacks from these SCVs while my Marines just throw down the DPS and do tons of damage. So you'll see that. See how all the SCVs are getting caught on my SCVs because they're attack moving. So that makes them aggressive, so the SCVs want to attack them back. And you can see my 4 Marines, I haven't lost a single Marine, and I've killed a ton of his SCVs. So he's only got like 8 of them left. So what's really important with Marines in these sort of rushes is shoot and scoot micro. And how you do that is you grab all your Marines, and then you right click somewhere to back up. This is really important for melee units when you're fighting melee units like workers or zerglings or anything like that. You right click to move back so they can't, sit there and hit you. And then you press S and your Marines will turn around and automatically shoot the closest thing. As soon as they shoot, then you click again and you'll do the shoot and scoot micro. So you'll see me doing that. You can also see my 2 reinforcements came in. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Marines versus his 1 Marine and a bunch of SCVs. And he's kind of smart here. He's trying to do a surround, so he's trying to get his SCVs past me and then attack so he can stop my Marines from doing shoot and scoot micro. But he just doesn't have enough SCVs to really stop my Marines from doing shoot and scoot. See, you can't quite surround them. So they are just having a great time just killing tons of SCVs. Now I've killed all the SCVs that he brought to attack with, and I'm just going to finish off these 2 Marines that he's produced from his 2 barracks. And finish off this useless mule that he sent to attack me for some reason. Now with 2 Rax, he is putting up a better fight than a lot of Terrans, because he's got these Marines constantly coming out, but I just have more than him. I've always had more. And he did leave a few SCVs back to harvest, which he probably shouldn't have. He really needed to kill these units, because it's pretty all-in.
Base is under attack.
And yeah, I have managed to finish off all his SCVs and all his Marines. And I've got more reinforcements coming as well. And I think he's got 1 more Marine coming out here, which he thinks maybe will help him. But it won't. And that's it. I have won the game. This is where he leaves. So one thing that did happen in this game, you can see I have a bunch of Marines still in my base. That's because when one of my Marines died, I forgot to set the rally point again, like I was talking about before. So my Marines got stuck back in their base. Now actually it was kind of okay because I didn't look at it before, but there was a Marine that he sent that Marine, that was scouting around out here to attack my base, and I had a Marine back here to fight him off. So yeah, this was a pretty decisive win, so hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for part 2, where I use this build against Protoss.